Wait, second that. Yeah, give me second that. So now, you asked about, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
So I guess you want to still that answer to the question about white people?
Okay.
So your question was, what is their ticket into the kingdom of heaven, or what do they have to endure to get to the kingdom of heaven? Is that what you're trying to ask?
No,
why should they get that thing? Do they deserve the kingdom of heaven? Why do they deserve the kingdom of heaven?
I guess it keeps above. You answered my question, like why we were the chosen. I don't want to feel like
that was the question.
But I don't think that will be answered until we get to heaven.
What is it?
Like, why were black people chosen?
Oh, yeah, that was it. You mean like out of everybody else?
Right.
All
What
right,
makes us so special?
All right, give me Deuteronomy chapter. Oh, you already got it? Somewhere right there, 4 or something like that. Nah, you got it. Go ahead. This is the smallest nation.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is the God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Shit. So basically because she loved our forefathers, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, I mean, it's not...
This is Romans chapter 9, verse...
For some reason, when he loves our forefathers, for some reason, he just chose us.
Yeah.
Like if you draw a bunch of pictures, you're going to have one that you just like the most for some reason. Maybe it's prettier to you. You know what I mean? But the creator of that picture is going to know why they like that picture. But
and the pictures can't say, why did you choose that picture? Like the picture can't talk to the creator and say, why did you choose me? You know what I'm saying? The picture just has to be what the picture is, the creation.
As far as we know, that scripture right there is the best way we can answer.
Thank you.
This is Romans chapter 9, verse... I guess I'll start at 1. It says, I said the truth. Huh?
We got Abraham, man.
Promise.
That's really what it comes, even before what the brother read with Deuteronomy, they go back to Abraham. Abraham was an obedient man to the Most High. What the Most High did, he made him a promise. If you want to get it in Genesis, was that 12? I think it's at the top. Genesis 12 at the top. That's the earliest I could think of Israel.
Alright, this is like Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.
That's that promise right there.
That goes into this. This is Romans chapter 9, verse... I said, Romans chapter 9, verse 1. I say the truth in Christ, I lie not. My conscience also bear me witness in the Holy Ghost that I have great heaviness and continued sorrow in my heart. For I can wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came, who is over all. God bless forever. Amen.
Right.
He says, not as though the word of God have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called, because it's passed down from Abraham, Isaac, to Jacob.
Right.
Okay? So,
and basically also in the scriptures it says that it's impossible for the Most High to lie. So what's happened is he's also bound by his word. Like people say he could do anything. He actually can't do anything because he can't lie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't take away from his power, but they're just saying that anything that he says or he speaks, it has to happen. So he made that promise to Abraham thousands of years ago, and it's still here today.
it says, but in Isaac shall thou seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise.
Right. At
this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only this, but Rebekah also had conceived by one, even our father Isaac, for the children being not born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that called him. So basically, according to the will of God, even though the children didn't do any good or evil before they were born, it was already election, because the promise that he made from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. It says, verse 12, it says, it was said unto her that the elder should serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. That's in Genesis chapter 25. Okay? He had twins, one was Jacob, one was Esau. Okay? One was basically the Caucasian race, or the Edomites, and one was basically our forefather Jacob, the Israelites, which are today called the Negroes, Native Americans, Hispanics. Okay? And it's not about color. Okay? It's not about the hue of his skin. Okay? Don't think just because a person looks like us that it's an Israelite. Okay? Because we have examples such as Lenny Kravitz. Okay, Lenny Kravitz looks like us, but he's not an Israelite. He's an Edomite. His father was a fake Jew, almost a Jewish person. Okay, you have people that look like the Caucasian. Me personally, I believe that Conor McGregor is not Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? Because the way his nose is shaped, just his spirit, just to me, doesn't seem Caucasian. Okay, and that's why it says try the spirit by the spirit. Okay? So it's more of a spiritual thing.
I'm black, right?
Huh?
Can you feel a black spirit from me?
Yeah, because of your diligence. I'm black. Because of your diligence and you want to know. Okay? Like Edomite is not going to accept this because the spirit is not going to agree with it. You know what I'm saying? This is a book, Babylon the Temple 2. And I'll continue reading this after you read this.
By Rudolph Winter. This is page 21. The origin of the white race. Europe began to emerge out of the slough of ignorance, and certain Germans and others conceived of themselves as belonging to a superior race. Johann F. Blumenbach, a German, was the first to divide humanity on the basis of skin color. Exactly,
because humanity was divided by the forefather, by the lineage, the bloodline. Okay? It wasn't divided by color. Okay? This is when it started. When the German scientists started, we were called Mangaloids or something like that.
Up to this time, no such attempts had been made. His classification set up a color line to the detriment of later generations. Mr. Blumenbach classified 5 chief races of mankind: the Caucasian, the Mongolian, the Ethiopian, the American, and Malayan. Moreover, he considered the Caucasian to be the original race.
We were born under the Ethiopian. Aithi means burn and Aus means face. So Aethios means burnt face, where Ethiopia comes from. So that's where you get black. That's why we said not black, but Israelite.
Right.
In the ancient times, prior to America, we classified, in most cases, whatever your father was, in some cases, whatever your mother was. So you weren't classified by the color of your skin, but the nationality that you were.
I got three, y'all.
How can Edomites and Mongoloids, the other ones, I guess,
Because you know I'll be back. I'm going to read this. And you had something?
What you guys?
how can the Edomites and the Mongoloids, whoever else isn't like
basically other nations, how can
what do they have to endure to
into the kingdom?
Yeah.
Well,
They gonna be there.
yeah, read it. Alright, read it.
You have it?
What you got?
Confusing the face.
Alright, hold on.
Revelation out of it.
Revelation 13 and 10.
You gotta go to
Now,
basic.
the thing is, not the sign, so-called Edomites, right? They had to go into slavery for the things that they did to these people. Every time you do something, you have to go through a judgment. It's like these people sinned against the Most High. They didn't keep His laws. So what did they have to do? They had to go into slavery. Same thing's gonna happen with the Edomites, because they took the Most High people, put them into slavery, and did everything else, still killing them today and things like that. They had to go through a slavery. They had to go into slavery. Thus, Revelation 13 and 10. Now, the other nations, like that aren't these people, all of them going into slavery for a certain amount of time. Now, it's not going to be in some cases how you think where with the like what we went through, but it's going to be a servitude of some sort, where they're going to have to serve these people. Now, after a certain amount of time, they're going to go out of, the rest of the nation will go out of slavery, but they're going to be in like a one world economy type of thing, where the children of Israel will be the rulers of that world, and all the other nations will live peacefully, we'll all live peacefully together. That's, to sum it up, that's what's going to happen. That's how the other nations, he read in Genesis 12 that the other nations will be blessed through these people. That's how they will be blessed, because they're going to be no more wars, no more wickedness, probably.
No more GMOs.
No more GMOs, healthy food. Go ahead, Revelation 13 and 10.
Revelation 13, verse 10.
Start at 9.
Verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints.
Go ahead, Psalm chapter 149. Go ahead.
This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity.
Now, it's not just the so-called Edomites, the so-called white man that devoured us. It's all of the other nations, even going on to today. Like, all the nations had a part in slavery. It wasn't just the white man. Even Midrob or something. Even what you would call Africans. Okay, we call them Hamites. But there was certain people in Africa that sold these people to the so-called white man. That's why it's called the slave trade. Even those Africans are going to go into slavery for a certain amount of time. So it's not a thing of color. It's a thing of nationality and what you've done and what you've done.
like where you are in your heart?
It's not in your heart, because the Most High judges nations. Like Daniel, you read about Daniel, right? You know what Daniel is, the prophet? The book of Daniel? Okay, well the book of Daniel has a prophet.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Your trial and your tribulation would be based on the nation, but He will judge your heart, right?
What do you mean by judge your heart?
Because, I mean, of course, based on your forefathers, like the sins of the father gets passed on to the son. So, of course, you're going to have to endure certain things because of your bloodline. But just because you come from a certain bloodline doesn't send you to hell. Essentially, when you choose, you're choosing the truth and you're choosing to follow Him, wouldn't that get you into the kingdom?
Okay, so this, you gotta correct this. There ain't no such thing as hell. Hell is right here. You in hell right now.
Okay.
The place of judgment is on the earth.
Right.
Hell is a place of judgment, right?
Right.
This is hell.
Okay.
When you die, you go to the spirit world, back to the Most High.
Right.
You stay up there for a certain amount of time, then you're going back into the earth. When you're going back into the earth, you live out that judgment. Understand? That judgment is here. It'll take us a lot to go through. We can, but it'll take us a lot to bring out all the scripts that might go another direction.
No, that makes sense to me, but I'm saying the judgment itself, you say you're judged based on nationality. Why
Based
would
on your nation. Nations have a judgment. Yes, individuals have a judgment.
Right.
You have what we call the 2/3 within Israel that are going to be judged based off of their actions. So the Israelites that come back and that keep the laws of the Most High, have the faith of Yahawah, they're going to make it out of the kingdom and be saved and make it into, they're going to make it out of this kingdom. All right, this kingdom is going to be destroyed. They're going to be saved and delivered to the next kingdom, which will be in Israel. They're not going to die. But the ones that don't believe, that don't keep the laws and don't care to do those things, they're going to die in this kingdom. Via martial law troops, via wars, famine, what else? All of those things of that nature. Race wars, all of those things. So yeah, it's an individual judgment based off of what you do on this, what we call on this side, based off of you keep the laws of the Most High to the best of your ability. And if you had a faith, yes, you're going to be judged according to that. But the Most High also judges nations, right? Yeah.
It judges according to the forefathers too.
But the reason that through the reincarnation, you are your forefather.
Yeah, right.
So you believe in reincarnation?
Like it comes through like lineage?
Yeah, so whatever.
So I haven't been anyone but an Edomite throughout my life.
I don't know if you're Edomite.
Hey, our father always good.
You might not be Edomite. If you identify, if you can relate to this as being the truth and it's pulling you, then most likely you're an Israelite. Alright, there were Israelites that had white flesh. It's a form of leprosy.
I thought
Alright, so you may not be Edomite. I don't know. I can't tell you that you're Edomite. You don't know. And this time there's been a great mixing of the flesh. So just because you have good white skin, it doesn't mean that you're Edomite.
Where in the scripture talks about reincarnation, like living many lives?
Give me
Matthew 11.
no, Ecclesiastes. Start with Ecclesiastes. We can also start with get the book of Job. Yeah, we'll go there. Now remember, we talked about a concept of duality.
Yeah.
Right? There's also a concept of cycles, right? Like you have a water cycle on the earth. Now what are cycles made for? Cycles are made so that something can continue forever, right?
Yeah.
Now you really having to manipulate. So there's a cycle on the earth, which is life. When you die, you go to the spirit world, you stay there for a while, you're born, you put back into the flesh, you're born, and then you live, and then you die. It's just a whole cycle, right? You got it?
It's Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
So are you standing under the sun?
See, that's one of my favorites, but I didn't know he was talking about reincarnation at all. Like, I don't know.
It's gonna tell you, you got the other precept to this? Alright, go ahead and read.
Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after.
Can you get the one of John the Baptist in Matthew when they was asking John the Baptist who he was?
Matthew 11, yeah.
Now it's gonna tell you what it's talking about. There's no new thing under the sun.
Right. I interpreted that as like what we go through, the laws we follow. follow, like there's nothing new. Even, for example, I used to listen to a pastor, he used Atlantis, like higher powers help build the pyramids and all these new inventions, like it's already knowledge that was once here before. But I don't see how it could be pertaining to reincarnation.
You said remembrance too.
There's no remembrance.
Items don't remember things.
Read that part.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 11. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. There's no iPhones or cell phones.
No, I'm not saying there were iPhones in the 1700s. I'm saying like the intelligence.
But the remembrance part, people remember things.
Right.
So in order for you to remember things, you have to have been there.
It's going to tell you in the precept. So read the precept. It's going to tell you what it's talking about. It should be, where you at? Go ahead and explain that. Let me go get it. I got it.
I'll bring out another one. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 16. Verse 15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requiring that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness.
Go ahead, but I want you to get 6 and 6.
And the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there.
6 and 6. It's going to tell you what has been. It's going to tell you in the precept.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 6. Yea, though he live 1,000 years twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place?
You live 1,000 years twice told. Skip down to verse 10.
Verse 10. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man.
So go back to that precept when you had on the first time. Read that again and then skip. Right.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 11. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 11. There is no remembrance of Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be.
Now listen, read that again.
The thing that has been.
Have what? Been, right? That's the key word, right? The thing that has been, that's what we're talking about, right?
Okay.
Read it.
It is that which shall be.
The thing that has been is that which shall be, right? And what?
And that which is done is that which shall be done.
There's a big difference.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
Go to 6 and
Okay, the way I interpret this, in the beginning when God created heaven, earth, all that, everything was created and then he rested. So our spirit was already created. It's just at the point of our conception, and that's when we were put into physical form. That's what I feel like he means by that. I don't think that I'm going to be living again and again and again.
Okay. Read it one more time. Let me show you. 1.
Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done.
Right, go to 6 and 10. The thing that has been, right?
Right.
So what has been?
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 6. Yea, though he live 1,000 years twice told. Verse 10. That which hath been is named already.
So the thing that has been is named already, right? Right.
And it is known that it is man.
It's man. You don't see it? You see how like reincarnation? No? Alright, go ahead. Alright,
already been, and God required that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Verse 20. It says, all go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Because the spirit of man goes up to the Most High and gets judged and goes back down. The spirit of beast goes down because basically the beasts are basically in their how can I say it? They're in their righteous configuration, I should say. Like the way the beasts live here on earth is how the beasts supposed to live. Okay? You know what I'm saying?
They're already fulfilling their purpose.
Exactly. Now the man goes up to be judged by the Most High and put back down because they're not carrying out their purpose here on earth according to righteousness. Okay? The beasts are in righteousness. Okay? The men are not. So we have that.
Second Ezra chapter 4, verse 40. So he answered me and said, go thy way to the woman with child, and ask her, if she hath fulfilled her 9 months, if her womb may keep the birth any longer within her. And said I, no, Lord, that can she not. And he said unto me, in the grave, the chambers of the soul are like the womb of a woman, or like as a woman that travaileth maketh haste to escape the necessities of the travail, even so doeth the places haste to deliver those things that are committed unto them.
Can you give me the
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 4, verse 40 through 42. 2nd Ezra, E-S-D-R-A-S. This is the Apocrypha. E-R-A-S. That's chapter 4, verse 40, 42. One more.
Get
Samuel
Matthew 19 and 27.
First Samuel 26, real quick. First Samuel 26.
I was told.
First Samuel 2 and 6, real quick, somebody. First Samuel 2 and 6.
First Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. It says, the Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
Most High kill people and make them alive. He bring them down to the grave, which is the earth, and then he bring them up. He make them alive again. What we just read about was the chamber of the spirit, the chambers of the grave. It said that they can't hold any longer at the appointed time to bring those spirits out. So they have to be born into the earth at a certain amount of time. Now when you read that scripture, Ezra is asking the Most High, why can't everybody just be born on the earth at the same time? He's telling them because everyone has a lot of time to live on the earth. You can't just bring everybody out at one time. Alright, so this is anybody else got anything? Alright, go ahead.
This is Exodus chapter 20, verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. And then in Ezekiel, because you die, you go back to the father, and in the 3rd and 4th generation, you come back in your family life. Which is why we're bearing the iniquity of what we did back in the homeland. Which is why we went through what we went through. But he said the father, I'll read it again.
Which is, if I can say so, which is why no one ever met their great-grandfather. Great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure you don't have a picture.
visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate you. Now this is a